Hey, friends, we're back. We are back. Welcome to Hey Girl. I am Margaret Edwartowski, and I'm super excited that you're here tonight. Man, have we got a show for you. Some super, super talented women. I guess super is the word for tonight. Every month I fixate on some word, and you're going to get sick of hearing it. So super hello and super welcome to the show. So if you're joining us for the first time, Hey Girl is an opportunity for us to celebrate and signal boost and make a big stir about amazingly talented women who are in comedy and acting and writing that I admire. I mean, I just pick people that I think are funny, but who also are going to make all of us women proud with all that they've got to offer. So this month in particular, one of the threads that we have in common is that we're all moms. I know it's only March, it's not May, but so what? Moms deserve appreciation year round. So Mother's Day is coming in March this year. Before we get rolling, let us say hello to our wonderful producer, Jessica Cooper.
Hello.
Hey, Mama. How are you? Oh, hey, girl.
Oh, hey, girl.
Hey, girl. Hey. We only run the show and we didn't even get that part.
Right. No. In fact, I don't think I've ever said it. I think that is my first time saying it, even though I encourage it for everybody. I think so. I mean, like, not in my life, but like in this setting. Yes.
Hey, hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
Wow, that was a really meaningful moment then. How are you tonight?
I'm glad we had it. I am doing pretty good. I'm feeling good. The weather has just made all the sadness disappear. So
didn't it?
Yeah.
And as I told you in the green room before, your makeup is on point. So
thank you.
Looking fresh.
Oh, I try, occasionally, sometimes.
Well, hey, girl. Thanks for all you're doing for us, and thanks for looking good.
Oh, thank you so much. Have a fun show.
Thanks. So my name is Margaret Edwartowski. I'll be your host tonight. I am an actor, author, playwright, nonprofit administrator, mother, and wife from Detroit area. I don't say Detroit because I'm keeping it real. And I am also a mom. And so a couple of thoughts before we bring on our guests. Tonight, I was really thinking about you're never not a mom. The idea of you're never off the clock, you never punch out. Last year or the year before, there was a commercial they did that people were interviewing for a job, and it was sort of a gotcha thing, and the job the interviewer was saying, "Oh, this job is 24 hours a day, and it's 7 days a week, and the pay is zero." And they keep going with, and there's no vacation time, and da da da. And people kept getting more horrified. And eventually, they reveal that the job is your mother, or is being a mother and your mother. And the interviewees are like, "Oh, ha ha ha." And at first you're like, "Oh, well, these people are legitimately looking for jobs. Please don't prank them in a commercial." But then you realize like, oh, and it gets touching, and people start crying, and they're, "Oh, my mom did so much for me, blah, blah, blah." And it's all true. And the reason I've been thinking about this is, if you've been following along with our show, I had a major surgery this month. And I'm 3 weeks out from it. And it made this idea of never not being a mom really, really clear to me, because when the whole world is telling you, you got to rest, you got to heal, you got to rest. It's great in theory, but when your kid's in virtual school in first grade, you can't just plop them down, because eventually they'll just be like neck deep in Legos and have drawn like every Pokemon in the world on their dry erase board. And then, or worse, which is a true story, get their camera turned off by the teacher because they're mugging too much in class. No, not my child. And also, like, you can't just, even though you're not supposed to lift things or clean, like, you can't walk around your filthy house that's getting dirtier by the minute and feel great about it and just like, oh, I'm gonna nap instead. I've had great support from my husband. He's been amazing. And my kid is super duper caring. So I'm lucky in that place. But one of the things we did to sort of deal with all of this is I went to Facebook and asked people for names for my incision, because it was like a burning fiery sword going through me every time I got up, and I needed a way to address this thing. So my buddy Kevin Kaminsky, shout out Kevin, decided we should call it Newman, which I thought was really great because that's already a name that you kind of say angrily from Seinfeld. And so the kid like really embraced it. And when I would get up, I'm like, oh, he'd be like, oh, I really hate Newman, Mom. I'm like, I love you, dude. And then I realized later, like, that was sort of a substitute for all the swearing I wanted to do. Because like if I were single going through this experience, I would like curse like fucking sailor, like all day long, every minute. Like, this sucks, this fucking sucks, I hate this shit. And then I would sleep all day and I would watch like the most inappropriate TV all day long when I'm not sleeping. And Newman would be known as the motherfucker, right? I can't do those things though, because I'm a mom, I'm on the clock. But I don't want to be single without a kid because my kid is constantly saying, Mom, you have the funniest jokes, over my husband. And then it's like super charming the way he worries about me. And I would miss out on all of his hugs and kisses. And I would really miss out on seeing the best parts of my husband and I, blossoming in a kid, and seeing his sense of humor, which is going to be my life's crowning glory, developing in the way that it is. So I'm never off the clock, but I'm not sad about it. And I'm sure we'll hear some similar sentiment from the amazing women we have joining us today. So before we get to those intros, I want to say a super hello to Kelly Rossi, who's watching right now and said super hello. And Patty Rooney, so good. So good. Hi, Patty. Thanks for watching. Mary Beth Monroe. Hey, girl. I see you. You're watching, and I love it. All right, let's get to these awesome women we have. So first guest, I'm super stoked about. Super stoked. She is a Groundling Sunday Company alumni, Carnegie Mellon School of Drama graduate, and a new-ish mom. You're going to have to change that soon, girl. She is an LA-based actress-writer, best known as the co-creator of the hit web series Jessica and Hunter, which is a New Now Next award nominee. Hooray! And she's the creator of a viral TikTok account, Garbage Mom. I honestly, please check it out because she does some really killer mom stuff on there. TV credits include Fuller House, Coop and Cami, Superstore, Fresh Off the Boat, and episodes. Please warmly welcome Beth Crosby.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
You look super good.
Oh my God, thank you. I don't know how to get dressed anymore. I don't know how to do my makeup anymore after, I've been a shut-in for a year, so.
Oh my God. I kept trying to get dressed during I actually did. I succeeded. Yeah. But I was still wearing pants and stuff. And then I had a surgery and then it was like pajamas. And now I'm like, I don't think I'll ever wear a bra again. I have one now. Don't worry, guys. But
I wore one for you, just so you know.
Thanks, buddy.
It's going to be coming right off the second the show ends, obviously.
I was getting ready and I was like, why do I have pants? I can wear pajama pants right now.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, your top half looks super good.
Thank you. I am wearing pants. I wore pants for you and abroad, just so you know.
Shut up.
I love you. I love the show. Not to brag, but I am wearing pants.
Oh, wow.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here.
And that was a really touching monologue. I was like getting choked up.
Oh, thanks. Well, this is that part, and I don't know if you're similar, where it's like there's cycles in pandemic of how you feel about your spouse and your kid or kids, right? Where it's like, oh, we can do this together. Oh, you're annoying. Oh my God, I want to kill you in your sleep. Oh, I love you more than anyone I've ever met. You know what I mean? And then it just comes back around like this.
Oh, I feel like that happens multiple times a day. Like some days I'm like, oh my God, I love this. I love my daughter. This is like so special. I get to have with her and my husband. Like, when else would we get to just like have this? And my daughter's like heaven because my husband and I are just both home 24/7. And then like 5 minutes later, I want to throw my husband out the window. I'm ready to murder suicide, just a murder suicide at any moment. Like,
I've imagined so many headlines of what goes wrong in my household.
Oh God, it's a real manic depressive feeling, just bipolar feeling happening 24/7 around here.
Well, hey girl, I'm thrilled you're here. Let's bring on some more guests. What do you say?
Yeah.
So our next guest is a writer and performer. She's acted and written for The Second City. She was a senior writer for Onion Labs at The Onion and is a contributor to the all-female Girls Night In. She lives in Chicago with her husband, 2 small kids, a big dog, and can't wait until it's safe to get on stage again. Please warmly welcome, let me get this right, Marla Caceres.
Hello, you got it perfect. Yay. That was awesome. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. How are you?
Hey, girl.
I'm good. Hey, girl. I really, it's growing on me. I like it.
What, the hey, girl?
Yeah. It is addictive.
Oh, yeah. And, I don't want to make you audition for it or whatever, but we did put a promo together with everyone saying, hey, girl, from last season. So if you really want to get in this year's.
Yes, please.
Do it.
I've got a ring light. I am self-tape ready.
Hey, girl. Now we are meeting for the first time, which is that's a first for this show. And part of it is because we have mutuals, but I saw the things you wrote about on Twitter, and I thought you were so hilarious, and your point of view as a mom was so cool, and I felt it that I really wanted you here. So I'm so excited you said
that's so sweet to hear. Thank you. There's a lot I hold back. So maybe maybe I should just open the spigot of honesty even a little bit more. Yeah.
I find myself doubling down on that the longer the pandemic goes on. It's like,
yes,
you know what? Yeah.
That's so true.
Well, thank you for joining us. So you are a Chicagoan, but you are coming via Florida. Is that right?
I am. In November, we got to a point where we're like, this is kind of unsustainable. Because I run a lot of online workshops. I do a lot of facilitation, and it's not the kind of thing you can do where it's it's adorable if your kid comes in and disrupts because people are paying a ton of money and a company, and then they're paying me, and it's not adorable to have a 4-year-old screaming for me. So we had gone 10 months being a total of 5 hours away from our kids.
Oh, wow.
Because we weren't doing any of the, no daycare, no elementary school. So we drove for 3 days in our Prius with our big ass dog and our 2 kids, and have been crashing with the in-laws. And it's just been it's this is how humans, this is why we kind of evolved this way, right? We're supposed to be in big families so that you can take a shower sometimes.
Yeah, the multi-generational family. It's the village, right?
Yeah. Yep. So, and the fact that they could, because, Chicago winters are just it's too, I had nowhere to store my children so I could work,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's nowhere to put them.
Ooh, girl.
Well, I am glad that you are living a much more functional life.
I mean, it is Florida, but
yeah, well, that's a whole other ball of wax, especially right now. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We have one more amazing guest to bring on, and then we will all share. I'm just going to share and laugh. Oh man, I just love this next guest. Before I read from her bio, I have to say that this young lady, was a student of mine. When she was taking my improv class, I hadn't met her yet, and she walked in the door. I'm like, oh, she's beautiful. She's not going to be funny, right? And then she did stuff in the class. I'm like, oh my God, she's funny. That's not fair. Well, she's probably not going to be nice, And then I got to know her, and she was the nicest.
Yeah.
And I just kept looking for something that I could hate because she was everything. And I never found anything because she's wonderful. So our next guest is a comedian. Amy Phillips is a comedian and a radio personality from Grosse Pointe, Michigan. So little Michigander there, who's currently living her best life in Los Angeles. She honed her skills at Wayne State University and the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York before studying improv at Second City Detroit, I.O. Chicago, the Annoyance Theater. She combines her love for reality TV and parody with her celebrated Real Housewives and other celebrity imitations, which we posted a bunch of on our site this week on our Facebook page. Which are a regular feature on Bravo TV's Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. Amy currently recaps all things Bravo TV and beyond on her Sirius XM radio show on Radio Andy, Reality Checked. Ladies and gentlemen, Amy Phillips!
Hey, girl!
Hey, girl!
Girl!
Hey, girl!
What a wonderful intro. Thank you.
Wow.
And I love you so much.
I love you so much.
I remember when we first met too. How can I forget?
It was at the time the Second City was transitioning to Novi.
Yeah,
and they had
exactly.
Somebody built. I'm sorry if any of the developers are listening.
I'm sure
a very poorly thought out outdoor mall in Novi, Michigan, which is good for 7 months of shopping, right? And our new building wasn't open yet, so we were in an empty sort of a storefront in an outdoor mall that hadn't opened yet.
Mm-hmm.
When we first joined us.
Sounds like a hot,
and it just goes
comedy.
It was.
There was a lot of space, though. A lot of space, and it just goes to show it doesn't matter where you do it because we had so much fun, and it was great. I mean, even though it wasn't like downtown Detroit, which was amazing, Novi had one hot spot, and we were over there. And
you know that you're doing comedy in a suburb when they build a main street. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Right.
And it was a strip mall, you know.
There's so much of that in Florida, y'all. There's so much of that. Like, look at this charming little town that just showed up. Like, come on, man. There's like 3 Paneras in this thing. Like, this is not like.
It's so comforting to me that I grew up in Irvine, California.
Okay.
Yeah, the mean streets of Irvine. And
you got some cred, don't you?
Oh, I have real cred. It was at the time considered one of the top 10 safest cities in the country.
Okay.
So as you can imagine, full of culture and diversity. And
yeah, that artist struggle really brings out.
Oh yeah. I really learned all about that. But so a strip mall is strangely comforting to me, even though I ran from it and never ever. I mean, I've never even went, looked back. But when I see one, it's like a strange, like a warm hug, just like know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and I have to imagine, like, especially like Chicago, but if you're like a Chicago or a New York dweller after having lived in that thing, the idea of, because that's what everybody loved about the move to, well, a lot of the audience loved about the move to Novi is like pulling up to free parking and, like that sort of suburban life where you're not, where am I going to put my car? How much is it going to cost?
Right.
How am I going to get in the building?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Amy, that was your intro. We started talking about strip malls, but I can't tell you how excited I am that you're here.
I'm so excited too. I mean, it feels like really not too long ago that, we were just doing shows at the Ant, and it's so strange. Like so much time just keeps passing by, and I hate it. I just don't like it.
Trust me, I tried watching the reboot of Mad About You last night, and I was like, I'm 1,000 years old.
Oh, wow.
My husband and I were just talking about Mad About You. What's going on?
They
Yes.
rebooted it. Yeah.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, they were dropping their daughter off at college.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I know. Amy and I used to do, I just had a flashback of this, a musical improv thing called Big Time.
Big Time.
Big Time.
Oh my God.
It was
right.
us and another player, Matt Noss, and then the band was Fredley Brown from Bruno Mars, and I think my husband, John, and Mikey Brown.
Yeah.
And then we would have a guest. That was amazing.
Oh, that was so fun.
What kind of improv did you do? Like what was the structure?
we would get a location from the audience every time. I think it was just a location, then we would just do a musical.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
John was our musical director at Second City. So he kind of helped with some, encouraging us toward actually thinking about structure. But, I think Detroit tends to be very like, don't bog me down with direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chicago's a lot like that too, I think. It's like, what are we going to do? I don't know. We'll figure it out. You want to talk about it? Like,
improvisers are just people who just procrastinators and don't want to do the homework, right? Is that what it is?
Yes, and too lazy and short attention span to like listen to a full description of what you should be doing.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
I don't know if you've had this. Have any of you had this experience where you like have a slightly more involved set and then you're trying to, you either have a guest or you're telling your cast, and like after the first line, then you see the eyes just sort of like glaze.
Like getting traffic directions. That's how I am when I get like, yeah.
And please don't say the name of the streets because I don't, you know, it's at 12 Mile and DeQuinder. Like, okay. Is there a donut shop or something around there? Like, I haven't been watching, but Andy Reid, who's a Planet Ant guy, gave us a big smiley face with some hearts. And Steve-O, if anybody's ever been around Hamtramck, you know Steve-O, and he says, "Hey, girl."
Hi, Steve-O.
And so does Gurl. Hey, girl, Steve-O. And same to you, Kurt Brinker. Thanks for watching, buddy. Good to see you. All right, so let's get to some actual questions because I did write some. So first, let's just really quickly round robin. Tell me about your kiddos. Amy, start off. Tell me what you want to tell us about being a mom.
She is a delight, and she's she's 3 and some. She'll be 4 in June.
Oh my gosh.
And over the last, I want to say, week, her personality has just exploded. And it's like blowing my mind. She's just like this full-on human and just is so funny and delightful, and is starting to get a little bit of an attitude, which we have to check here and there. And so, but it's so cute. She's really fun. Like, I actually just had this thought the other day that, she's 3. And it took me about, more than 3, over 3 years to actually recently I kind of feel like I'm back to myself,
Yeah.
I don't think you'll ever be back to yourself. I mean, you evolve as people, obviously. So it's not that I need to go back to who I was before, but I just feel a little more settled. Like, I just don't feel as underwater as I have. And I just think from day one, I've just felt like completely underwater. And I don't know. I mean, I think it's a combination of things, but one of which is that I think I'm just so confident knowing that, like, she's okay. Like, we've gotten this far. And I think it took me this time to be like, okay, you're doing an okay job. She seems to be happy. Like, the train is running, and I can maybe just take, a minute to acknowledge that, because this whole time I'm like, oh, what's going to happen?
There's a fragile. Yeah. A friend told me, wait until 4. You'll be fine when they're 4. So you're getting, well, that's when they become like a person.
Yeah.
And with the potty training and some other things, like, you can just take them with you. It's not like it's not like Beth's video with the 12,000 bags and the, all the shit you have to take wherever you go.
Right.
She sounds lovely.
Yeah, she's a cutie pie.
Marla.
Yeah.
Share.
So I have my son will be 7 in May, which is like every year I'm just like, how what? Like, I still have clothes from before you were born. Like, how is this possible? And then my daughter is 4.5. They're great. They're just a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. But yeah, they're wonderful. They're little besties, they both, it's weird. I look at them and I'm like, who are these people? Because they have this energy level that I'm just like, I don't think I was a really chill little kid. Like, I would read books and I'd climb a tree with my Fisher-Price radio and a book. And I was an only child and I watched a lot of TV. I watched everything. But I just they're like wild animals, and it's like, was I that? You know?
I asked
wrestle,
my sisters,
punch each other, and punch me. And last night they slapped each other's asses for like 15 minutes. I'm trying to get them to go to bed, and they're just like bare ass, just like they just thought it was the funniest thing. And I'm like, I'm so
It is funny.
It was. It's
funny.
hilarious. You have to. It's such a balance. You have to like step outside and go, man, this is really funny. But also, like, I need you to brush your teeth because I need to decompress for an hour. Please go to bed. But also, I want to encourage this because it's so funny and you're bonding and you love each other, and I want this forever, you know. But it's like, but please stop because I need to go to sleep. Because I need to just be on my phone for an hour with nobody asking me for anything, and like I need to watch TV and like not think, you know.
That line you said is everything. The not being needed for any period of time. Because I used to like fantasize about renting just like the shittiest, like Fairfield Inn. Fairfield Inn, you're not shitty. But like not a fancy spa, but just like
How dare you?
I'm sorry.
How dare you? Amy's father is the
Courtyard by Marriott. I'll give myself an upgrade.
Fairfield.
Fairfield Inn. But like just to have one night where nobody can, you know.
One of my best friends did that. She did that this summer.
Did she really?
You know, she did.
What a dream.
I just want to write. I just want to write for like a weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Marla. Beth, tell us about your little one.
Well, I commend you, Margaret, for wanting to go and write. I would love to go and drink as much alcohol as possible by a pool and then watch trash all day long. Like, and then
that sounds nice.
that. I literally so we got over COVID recently.
Yeah.
And,
no.
Oh yeah, that was, hey girl.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Hey girl.
What a blast. It reminded me of your monologue. Like, you're never not on. So my husband and I got so sick. And my daughter got like sick for literally 20 minutes. And then for 3 weeks was like ready to party. And then, you know, we all know what it's like parenting while we're sick. It's like, it's like parenting if you're like crazy hungover, which I don't do regularly.
No.
But it's awful, right? Parenting because you're on. Sorry. Oh, you have COVID? Oh, Dad, you have a 4-year-old that needs your attention 24/7. You know?
Yeah. I cannot.
I can't even imagine.
Well, I mean, it was an experience. But so, Margaret, when you were like, when people are telling you, like, by the way, I mean, I'm so glad you're feeling better.
Thank you.
When people are telling you, like, oh, just you hope you're resting. Oh, I hope you're resting. It's like, okay, you don't have kids, obviously.
What's resting?
Right. You know?
Right. I mean, I don't have to work on top of all of this.
Well, that is, I mean, but you are working 2 full-time jobs, being a parent to a kid who's home 24/7, you know?
And being a teacher.
Right. And being a teacher and running the show and writing
and a host.
Just everything, you know.
But she weathered it, no problem, and you guys were knocked the fuck out.
She's fine, and you know what? She's amazing, though. I love her, and Amy, I relate to what you're saying about suddenly having a personality, like.
Yeah.
And
because how old?
She's 4.5. Yeah, or she'll be 5 in May, and and because we had COVID, we made the decision to send her back to preschool for she was home
absolutely.
Oh, that's exciting! Congratulations!
Yeah,
I know. Right?
It was like
antibodies and your kids.
The best thing.
Hey, girl!
Hey, girl!
Now you can drink all day.
Oh God! I mean, it's the best thing that could have ever happened.
Yeah.
Ever.
That was how we were last summer. We because I work for the Y. None of these opinions are theirs. You know, we sent my kid to day camp last summer, and I labored over that decision. But let me tell you, as soon as he went out, it was like, wow, what my husband and I aren't fighting, and it's really calm, and I'm getting work done, and this is amazing. Yeah.
It's a literal miracle, and the amount of shit I get done. She's only there for 3 hours, 4 days a week, which is like literally nothing. But the amount I can get done in those 3 hours, it's like more than I got done before I had kids in like a week. You know, now that I'm a mom, the short time that I have, it's like, I don't know how, but I do.
And Beth, do you feel like when she went back, were you like sad inside? Because, you know, we've all been together, you know, you've been together this whole time. So was it a weird adjustment though? Having you're not there? I'm kind of like a little nervous. When you went back.
Amy, to be honest, it was honestly, like, all jokes aside, I was sad. I was like, oh no, like, here she goes. She didn't even look back.
Like she didn't? Really?
Later.
I was like, oh wait. And like, I was expecting her to be upset or be like, oh no, I don't want to go. No, she was ready. Like
she's followed through. Like she's not sick of it yet. She's not like, I want to come back home and stay home all day.
Oh, she cried. She's crying when we picked her up. She's like, you again? Like, she is ready.
I don't want to go back.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm happy for her. I'm happy for her. That's good.
Yeah.
So
that's
I'm
great. I hope that Maddie
all our
the same
kids
way.
to go back. I'm very excited for all our kids to be able to go back.
Yes.
Maddie's school is in school. They're waiting. The teachers are going to get vaccinated and then they're going to open. Should be soon though.
Great.
All of our teachers, I think, have been vaccinated. And then I was telling some of these folks in the green room, like, the schools are really starting to start up again, but we're still staying virtual for now. My own family, anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, we're both here, so it's just super.
Yeah.
But who knows? Everybody's got. This is the toughest part about being a parent through this. Is like, you don't just make a decision once. This is like my, you know, when friends who moved out of town for the entertainment industry would come back and be like, you should move. Like, you don't make that decision once to stay home. You make it every time your friends come back and be like, you really would do well over there. Like, okay. Same thing with virtual school is like, this is now the third or fourth survey we've completed to say, you know, which way you want to go. And it's difficult because through the whole of this quarantine or pandemic, every decision is like Sophie's fucking choice. Like, you know, now should we bring the mask to the playground or not? Yeah, we'll bring the mask, even if other people aren't. Or, you know,
oh my God.
Have you run into that?
Oh, yeah. Oh my, we wear masks everywhere. And the unfortunate part about LA or wherever it is that you live in LA is that you find, I don't know if you've found this in your area, Beth, but like, I rarely go to the park. I just started venturing over the last like 2 months, going to the park like on the weekends or on the weekday when it's not as busy. And, you know, so, like last weekend or 2 weekends ago, 50% of the people were wearing masks. The other 50% weren't. And it's like, we're still in kind of, you know, LA is still like major, you should be masking up. Like that's still what's happening. And a lot of people don't. And it's discouraging because it's kind of mandated here. And when you're trying to like, you know, live together and do the little minimal things, it's so disappointing when you have to like kind of go somewhere and get irritated by somebody who's not, you know, following the rules, you know, and so yeah, it's frustrating.
It's maddening.
Florida is really bad for
I was looking at you, Marla.
I mean, it's like we time traveled either like 10 years in the past or 10 years in the future. Like, it's like, we drive by gyms and like, I can like, I don't know, 2 people in masks. Like you can see, we drove by like a boxing studio and I could just see the breath particles like hanging in the air. Like it was like, you know, like the windows were like foggy and stuff. And my kids are typically, I don't know, 10% of the kids on playgrounds in masks. And my kids are part of that tiny minority. Yeah. So I like force them to do it, you know, for obvious reasons, but also to make the other kids feel less shitty. The ones that are, you know, to make them feel like less alone, because it's just, it's a different world.
Parenting that's like, so much of it is modeling behavior you want your kid to have. I feel like a lot of that goes on right now. You know, down the street, we have new neighbors. I was telling a couple of folks in the green room before the show, and they're young and they're having a party for March Madness and they're playing beer pong. And when I saw a friend today, she explained to me, because I never played beer pong in college. I went to theater school. We didn't do that, I guess. But what's up, Brandy? She explained to me how you play beer pong. And I'm like, I'm sorry. During a pandemic, you're putting a ping pong ball into someone's beer, and then like it goes in, like, just rinse it off in some water,
No.
And throw it in the other beer. And then we're all going to drink the beer that this soiled
Yeah, and by the way, let's play bobbing
ball.
for apples. That's a great idea too.
You think of like Ookie Mouth from South Park, like, unbelievable. Okay, so this is something I love, and speaking of Mary Beth Monroe, I remember having a conversation with her about this a while back, but one of the things I think that's really great about being a comedian and a parent is the way you can filter your humor into your household and how you deal with things with humor. So, it's putting you on the spot a little bit, but how does humor play into your parenting? Do you have family bits? Do you have bits with your kid? Are there any examples of those? Since it's kind of a put you on the spot, I'll let you volunteer whoever has a thought first. Did you have home bits?
Well, we just started to. Oh, sorry, no, you. Go ahead. I'm sure yours is better.
Go.
We'll go alphabetical. Amy first, and then Beth.
Okay, good.
There's this one thing that Maddie just picked up on with that Brett and I do this bit where, when you're talking to somebody, and I've done it a million times too, but if you haven't done it, maybe you've heard someone else do it where, they're like, yeah, we should all take our clothes off and get in the water. No. They just say no at the end of something,
No.
and they're just trying to be funny. Like, I've done that a million times. I'm like, no. So Brett and I just really exaggerate that. We're like, we should get carry out 3 nights in a row. No. So we just say like no after everything every once in a while. And so all of a sudden Maddie started doing that. So she'd be like, I'm on my iPad. No, but she doesn't really know what she's doing. So when she does it, it's hilarious because it does kind of work when she does it. And she's just imitating us. It's so cute.
Oh my God. That's so adorable.
So cute. And your daughter is like ridiculously adorable.
Really
oh my
cute.
God. Same to you. I mean, and everyone here.
Yeah.
I don't think there's
Maria, I haven't seen yours. But I know they're adorable.
Yeah, they're not uggos. I got lucky.
There's not a dud in the bunch.
Yeah, that's what I was. Dud. That's the word I was looking for.
No dud.
All right, Beth. What are your home bits?
Well, listen. My kid loves a good fart joke. Okay, she loves a fart joke.
Yes.
And we like to do like a lot of characters just for fun. And so she pulled out now an old lady character, and she does she says, I'm an old lady. And she walks around with like a cane. And I go, oh, how old are you? She goes, I'm 44. And I'm like, yep. And then I'm like, well, how old is mommy? She thinks I'm 28 because I literally tell her I'm 28, and I refuse to tell her my real age.
I'd buy it.
But yeah, so and then we play just a lot of knock jokes, making up knock jokes, and a lot of butt, fart, and poop humor.
Always the perennial hilarity.
Oh,
I mean, it is objectively funny.
It is.
You can't argue with it.
No.
It's always gonna land.
Outside of slapping butts, Marla, have you got?
They're obsessed with butts. It's funny. My son actually tried to make like a poop reference with his teacher. Who's super cool. And his teacher was like, that's not appropriate for school. So the other day we were doing some sort of fart related bit. Oh, because my son, this is kind of, I don't know how he physiologically can do this. He can sense that he needs to fart and he will hold it and he will walk over and just like hand deliver it to me.
Like
a note.
That's amazing.
That's genius.
Very impressive. And I had to have a talk with them. We were laughing about something and I'm like, you guys, look, this is always going to be okay in mommy and daddy's house. And we think it's very funny, but basically know your audience. You can't do this in school. I don't want them to be hurt when people are like, ew, or they,
so America's Got Talent. You never know,
Mr. Methane.
Yeah. But my husband is also an improviser. So I want to ask, have you ever had the moment where I guess part of me is like, oh, it'd be nice if you two could like go into medicine or like, I don't know, engineering. So do you ever have that feeling of like, damn it?
No.
Or like my daughter is a ham. Yeah.
Yeah.
From the time my kid was born, I was like, I want you to be mommy's little Alex P. Keaton. Like, none of this acting shit, okay?
Right.
I want you to have health insurance. So,
Yeah.
but then they're yours, and they, they get the personality. It's not the worst thing to get.
They're around it, I mean, just literally all of my friends. Yeah. Most of my friends are comedians. And if they're not a comedian, they're just cool and funny, like they're like funny and I think
it's just like all of my friends just so funny and cool.
Love my friends. I love my friends, and, even my friend who's literally, looking for the cure for cancer. She is a scientist, went to school for 12 years. Like, thank God she's my daughter's godmother. I'm like, please do that. Like, please just be a scientist. But even she's like fun and boisterous. So I think them just being around all that, they're naturally, I think, gonna be, or maybe just it embraces their sense of humor, or brings it out,
Yeah.
But no matter what they go into, I personally feel like we are giving them the biggest blessing in the world by, improvisers know how to listen, and they know how to interact, and they know how to talk, and they know how to make friends. And those skills, because you've been in the workforce,
Yeah. Oh my, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not common. So
Dude.
It's so interesting that you brought up improv in that too, because one of the things that Brett and I have been talking about is Maddie will not, it's like playing with her is playing with like the worst improviser. I mean, I hate to say it, but like everything is a no. And everything, she's always telling you what she wants you to do. And we're in that stage now where we have to, like, because she's not playing with any other kids. So we're really having to explain to her and teach her how to play and get her prepared, because if she doesn't, she doesn't start playing with kids, and they're not going to put up with that. No one's going to put up with that. Do this, do that. No, use this voice, be this character. I know I'm going to do that. It's like a lady, so you really have to start. And I'm like, Brett, can you give her the improv 101? She's ready. Like, let's do it.
She's ready.
He's Jamie Moore. They're calling her OC all the time. And now I keep saying that to my own kid, like, OC, only child.
Oh yeah,
not to have it your way,
Yeah.
Because my kid, the two other kids that we play with, they're both only children too. So there's a real like my way,
Oh really? Okay.
They get along great, but at times you're like, oh yep, all three of you only children. I can see it. Very cool. So what's your geekdom? What's something that you're super into? Anything that, like, 'cause I was thinking about this because in my writing organization, they were having us fill out these forms just in case, like, somebody's writing a book and they need to know info about something, and you might know about it. Like, what would you say? I know a lot about this. So of course I put like improv and some other geekdoms. But like, what would, if you had to fill out that form, what would it be? And it could be improv, but it could be other things if you're into D&D or playing games on my phone, or romantic stories, chapters, games, or whatever your thing is. Beth, start us off. Do you have a geekdom?
Well, I mean, are drag queens, is that a geekdom? I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
That is my I'm in my next life, I want to come back as a guy, and I want to be a drag queen. Like, it's my favorite thing. I love drag queens. I have drag queen friends. I want to.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
I want to. Gracie. Oh God. Speaking of like inappropriate at school, like this kid this past year, because she's just been home, and I'm like, I've kind of like relaxed a little bit, and like what she sees and doesn't see. Oh God. So she's seen a lot of, RuPaul's Drag Race, and she loves RuPaul, and she, which is great. I think it is a great thing for her to see. But yeah, just drag queens. And I mean, it just makes me so happy. I could know everything about the world. And just
amazing. Marla, do you have a geekdom?
Yeah, it's probably going to be food and cooking. And I love food. And like this summer we did a CSA, and it was like, just, it's so weird to be like, oh my gosh, this thing made me truly happy just getting this box and being like, what vegetables in here? I don't know what this is. And then looking it up and like experimenting and cooking. And my kids obviously won't eat any of it because they only eat trash. But like just that.
They're in that chicken nuggets window. So.
Yes. Yeah. Just garbage. And I'm just, and I'm looking, and we're going to do it again. I already prepaid for like summer and fall. And so that'll probably be it. Like, you know, show me a random vegetable and I'll like figure out like, should I braise it? Should I roast it? Like, yeah.
Do you cook together or is it mostly you? Like
with my kids?
With your husband? Kids?
With my husband? Yeah, with my kids, I had this like fantasy of like, I'll teach them. But one way to find out how bad your control issues really are trying to cook with a 3-year-old. So I'm gonna wait because I learned to cook really early because I'm an only child, but my mom worked nights, very like blue collar family, so I had to do a lot of the cooking, and I'm so grateful that I learned that. And I'm always been like, both my kids will be that, and I'm not gonna have my son be like a dude that goes out in the world and doesn't know how to do anything.
Yes,
will not be that guy. Yes. So yeah, my husband does cook a lot too, but it's kind of like my thing, you know, like I'll like podcasts, cook, and it's a great, it's also a great excuse for like disappearing.
To be alone.
To be alone in a way.
I gotta learn how to cook.
Also doing something that's necessary and useful, right? For the like it has to be done. So that's
I have to be in the kitchen by myself.
With a glass of wine.
Yes.
I actually I keep storing away this character idea because the dogs. You have a dog. They always want to wedge between you and the stove, or like they're always underfoot. Of just like it's like a grandma or a mom, like get out of here with the dog. All the time.
My dog does that. Yeah, he's like 90 pounds too, and it just like spreads out like a rug, and it's like, bro, I gotta. Yeah,
I mean, I need to get in here. Amy, do you have a geekdom?
Yeah, you know what? Piggybacking off of Maria, I've been way into cooking and baking, like over the course of the last, I would say 2 years. I think it's just because circumstantial reasons. We moved into a place that has a bigger kitchen, so there's like that's inspiring. Sure. 2, baking with a toddler is hilarious. Then it gets obnoxious, but you know, the cleanup is bad, but it's still really fun. Like, so it's something to do. You know, we like to bake a lot. Maddie and I, she usually walks away at some point, and then also I got an Instapot, like we got an air fryer, just all the bullshit, you know? Yes. So there's just a lot of experimentation with that. And I'm not saying I'm good at any of it. It's new to me because I never really did much of either, you know, over the course of my adult life. It's just something I never really was passionate about. And now I just feel more passionate and I feel like I've gained more weight, which is fine. But, you know, that's part of it. That's a occupational hazard. When you're baking and cooking a lot, you have to enjoy it.
Plus COVID. I mean, for sure. Oh, I screwed myself because it was like COVID and I quit smoking. Like,
you did? Oh, wow. Oh my
God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's gonna be a year on May 1st.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Wow.
It's not easy.
30 years.
Oh my God.
I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't kill any of my family.
I mean, that is the shocker.
During a pandemic. Oh my God.
So literally 2 months, like a month and a half into it, you're like, I'm going to quit smoking now.
Well, the anxiety of the pandemic was so high that I would sit in the garage and go crazy. And then your lungs feel like you actually have COVID. Then you're like, wait, this is a lung-based disease. And my husband had just quit a little while before.
Oh, that's helpful. Really?
It really did. Yeah. So
wow, good for you guys. That's
commercial for Shantix because it changed my life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
This is sponsor.
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. Hey, you and your Shantix.
Yeah. Fairfield Inn and Chantix so far. Potential sponsors.
I don't think Fairfield Inn wants to be a sponsor after this in a shitty hotel.
Too bad. They are. They are now.
They're already in. So one more question before we get to the awards portion of our evening, and this one's a little bittersweet. So I don't know how much live performance any of you were doing before the shutdown, but now that there's sort of a light, hopefully, at the end of the tunnel, and we'll be able to, at some point, get back in front of audiences. Let's think about a couple of things. It's a twofold question. What do you miss about live performance the most? And also, once we're able to perform live, what's the first show you'll either do or see that you just can't wait to get back into? So Marla, how do you feel about starting us off with that? What do you miss about it, and what would you want to do or see?
Yeah. I feel like it just scratches like an itch in my brain that there's not much else. It's almost, it's hard to find the replacement for that itch, I don't know
it's
how
a fix. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. And I've done some internet-based things, and it's a great, substitute for now for sure.
Because Girls Night In's been doing some shows, right?
Yeah, and that's that has just been a total blast, and I'm so proud of like the ladies who like took that off the ground, and it's a thing, But just that the pre-show energy, the hanging out, and like the doing the bits, and the stuff on stage that like happens that surprises you about one another, that energy, the feeling of the lights. There's this sensory thing of the lights and the darkness of the audience. Like I could feel the lights on my skin. I don't know. I miss all of that. Yeah. I do a lot of stuff with Second City, but my regular like performance home was IO Chicago, and it closed down. I'm still kind of like in denial of that. Like every once in a while I remember like, oh man, IO is gone. So I don't know.
Well, all these spaces that closed while we were away, right? And now it's like it didn't happen. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, like a bunch of places. Yeah, so I don't know what it's gonna look like for me personally when I get back in. I don't know. Yeah. I do want to see like theater. Like, I want to like cry in an audience. I want to see some like heavy shit. I want to see some really good plays. I don't know, at least in Chicago. I know Second City's opening up, limited capacity pretty soon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I don't know it, I don't know. But I will see a lot, and I'm going to get babysitters, and I'm ready to drop some stacks on some childcare. Get out.
That sounds amazing. A couple of things just to mention before we get to the other answers. Sarah, thank you for the congratulations on quitting smoking, and Shantix has saved your mom's life. I am super glad to hear it. She also wants to know what you're drinking, Marla.
Oh, it's just water. It's just water, you guys. In a water bottle. I have to go back to water. Life. Yeah.
Look at us healthy
water with sponsored by
nice. Another sponsor. Also, Steve-O says, Beth, he's glad you're back to full power, and reading your Instagram, he was worried about you, so he thanks God that you're still here.
Oh, that's so nice.
Isn't that sweet?
Yeah, very sweet.
Thanks, Steve-O.
Oh, thank you.
So Beth, live performance. Were you doing a ton, or do you miss it? What's the story?
But right before I wasn't, but I was auditioning, in front of people.
Actually, not on a Zoom. Yeah.
No, not in a Zoom or self-tapes, which, and I do miss that. I think because of my stage background, I really, it's something about just like, you have to do it now that gets me out of my head. It's like, you just like jump off the cliff and you can't stop and retape it, or, I feel like with self-taping, or even when I make videos, it's like, I have to just be like, don't think too much about it. Because I am a control freak, so I would do it over and over and over and over. And it's like, that's what I miss about, once the lights go up on stage, you gotta just go for it. And so I do really miss that. And I will go see drag queens perform. And
yes.
So for my birthday, which was a couple weeks ago, my husband did a surprise Zoom birthday party for me. Nice. And he hired a drag queen to do a show. And it was like a spiritual experience, because this drag queen had it down, like songs, lights. It was like seeing a live performance, and I was like crying, because it was just, it was like a spiritual experience, and it made me just like very excited for hopefully soon us being able to be back there,
Drag show. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Now you make me want to go do drag queen bingo again. You know, I have that in Royal Oak here in Michigan.
Oh, yes.
My face hurts so badly from laughing at that show. Oh my God.
They're the funniest. They're the funniest.
Oh,
they really
but
are.
also, like, as we were talking in the green room beforehand, like, you know, I have a filthy mouth and I'm not afraid to think and talk about super filthy things. And let me tell you, that is the company you want to keep. Because they were making my ass blush and not my ass blush. They were making me blush.
No, we're like more conservative compared to.
Oh my God. I was like the sweater set brigade in that room. Like, it was amazing. Yeah. Amy, how about you?
Oh, you know, it's weird because like last year, right before, I don't even know when it was, maybe it was the beginning of the year, but like our group Mama's Boy, we kind of had decided we were going to take a little bit of a break because it was getting to the point where, both a couple people just felt like their schedules were overwhelmed. And then, and then Nancy ended up moving. And so it was sort of like, it was weird timing, but we had already decided we would be taking a break. So in a way, it's kind of, I haven't really, thought too much about it, live performance during this time because I electively wanted to and needed to take a break from everything, some extracurricular things that I just needed to pull back from. And so, but now obviously absence makes the heart grow fonder, which I knew would happen regardless, but it's just, now thinking like, oh my God, well, where are we going to perform? When will that be? And to your point, I miss watching my friends perform. I miss watching, I just like even specifically those shows, just laughing so hard at Jamie and laughing so hard at Mary Beth, Nancy, like, and when we'd have so many female guests in, like, just can't even keep it together, like just off in the wings, just laughing so hard. It's just in the moment, the connection you make before the show, like you were saying, Maria, like the before and the after and like everything, the stage time is like great and fun. And that's like hits on a whole different aspect of like getting that audience interaction and fulfilling that feeling inside of you. Like you want to make people laugh, like I'm going to make people laugh and I can hear people laughing from us. So that's such a great experience. And I miss that. I would love to be able to perform again with Mama's Boy somewhere in the world.
It'll happen. The next Detroit Women of Comedy Festival.
Yes, there you go. That would be great.
I'm putting it in.
That probably will be. Yeah. Exactly.
I didn't even work on it. I just think you should. It's selfish. Well, I don't know how it is in other cities, but I know Detroiters, and we talked about this on a couple of shows ago when Nancy was on and Lauren and some other Detroiters. There's just a sort of bond amongst us. So I can already feel the feeling you're talking about of like watching your friend. Because you're like, it's that thing when you're a team, but you're like, oh, wait till they get a hold of this friend of mine.
Oh my God. It's the best. Like you can anticipate, like I can anticipate when Nancy comes on sometimes. I'm like, I fucking know what she's going to do and it's going to kill. Like it's the greatest feeling. I had always wanted that my whole life of knowing what improv is. From 2005, I just remember watching you and so many incredible performers at Second City in Detroit, and like you being good friends too. And I remember being like, God, I want that so bad. I want to be able to improvise with my best friends who are so funny. And like when Mama's Boy was grouped together, I was like, this is what I've always wanted, and it's so fulfilling.
Yeah. Oh, it's challenging sometimes to be in a two-woman with Nancy Hayden, for anybody who's because sometimes I get so caught up in watching her that I'm like, oh shit, I'm the only other person here. Right. So, okay. Well, I allowed us a little extra time, as I've been cheating lately, to do, because you guys are just so fascinating to talk to. But we have some really important awards to give out that the people who are receiving them may never know that they got, but and that's what's important. So this segment is what we call the Hey Girl Ally Awards. It began as we're doing an all-woman show. Why don't we give some shout outs to guys, because they're not as bad as we all act like they are. But it sort of morphed into this thing of like, we all have somebody really important in our lives who has helped us to become the person we are, either as a performer, a mom, a wife, a friend, whatever. And there have been some really moving moments out of that. So I'm glad it turned into what it has. And all three of you have chosen someone special to you to give an award. So Marla, why don't you start off and give out your Hey Girl Ally Award?
Okay. I wish I had like a prop envelope to like
improviser. Jesus.
That's right. You know, they always blow into it.
To get the anthrax out. That's what they're doing. 2001 joke.
Right. Deep cut. So it took me forever to think about this, and then it like came out of I'm like, oh, of course, this is who I would give this to. I did a show for ages where I don't know if I think we're just on hiatus because IO shut down, but called World News Tonight. And one of my fellow cast members is named Brooke Bright. Mm-hmm. And she is just, I love that. That's so cute. And I feel like we've had these like, we both became parents at the same time. We both had our second kids around the same time. I remember like being in her living room. We're both like nursing our daughters because we both had boys first and then girls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And all the challenges and like the hard things that happen in like this life, right? Like we've sort of support each other through them, right? And she's one of the first people where it's like, God, I need career advice. I'm going to call Brooke. Or I need to vent about this thing with my kid's school. I'm going to call, we're on a text thread, which thank God for text threads, right? Just in general. Yes. Yeah. And she's just such a good person. One of the fucking most hilarious people I've ever met. She like makes me laugh so hard, so imaginative. Please listen to her in Hello from the Magic Tavern, which is a wonderful podcast. She has a recurring character. She's just wonderful. She's so funny, so kind. And she's just been like a rock that I can like hold in my soul for like the last I don't know, over 10 years. And and just a joy to perform with too. Just like a joy. So hopefully we get to be on stage together again.
Congratulations, Brooke Bright. Yay! You have won an Ally Award. Beth, tell us about your ally.
Well, my ally is a wonderful woman named Margie McGee. And yes, that is her real name. And we met. So I was a musical theater major, and she went to a completely different school and was a musical theater major. And we met doing summer stock together, nice. Dancing for $300 a week in West Virginia. And we were dancing in a show called Sugar Babies.
Oh my God.
And anyways, we just bonded right away, became fast friends. And after college, I had never even considered comedy. It was like something I always wanted to do. I loved it. I was always trying to like make myself cry in drama school, and all my teachers were like, "That's not really your thing." It is. And,
do it.
Oh, I was like Medea, and they're like, "Okay, lady." And anyways, once I graduated college, I was like, I love comedy. And she left New York. She was a dancer, like she was a rockette. Moved to LA to pursue comedy at the Groundlings because she is fucking hilarious. And I'd always wanted to do that, and I'd never had the guts. So her doing that, it gave me the guts to go pursue.
Wow.
Maybe it was a little stalkerish to be like, I'm coming right after you. But she's incredible, and anyways, I stayed. I was going to come for the summer. I stayed here in LA to pursue comedy, and she did too. And she's been a professional writer for over 10 years. She's worked on 1 million shows, and she's really just followed her dreams, and it's been such an inspiration. And besides that, she's like a sister to me. I've always wanted a sister, and she's ride or die. She like the second I was like, my mom's sick, she dropped everything and drove to Orange County without me even asking. She's like that type of a person. And when we had COVID, she dropped off this care package complete with like hazmat suits and air purifiers and like 20 medications and food. I mean, she single-handedly like nursed us, back to life. And she just is, and I have two godmothers for Gracie. She's the other godmother to my daughter, and I love her so much.
She's a blessed kid there.
Yeah, yes, she is.
Great people.
Yeah, yes. I'm so grateful for the godparents because I feel like my daughter's surrounded by amazing people. Anyways, that's Margie McGee. I love her so much. She is
Congratulations, Margie McGee.
Margie.
Ally Award.
I love Margie. I didn't. That is the coolest story. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, you know Margie, right?
Yes, I just know her. Yeah, I've met her through, I think through you or Emily Wilson. I can't remember.
Right.
But she's so cool.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how tight you guys were. And I love that story. It's so cool.
Yeah.
That's what I love about this show is like, whether people are in Chicago or Detroit or LA or wherever they are, we sort of have this network of the same people. So like,
yeah.
I know. All right, Amy, lay it on us. Tell us about your ally.
My ally is Andy Cohen.
Yeah.
Who I called Daddy Andy. And because if it weren't for him, I wouldn't, be doing what I'm doing today. He's the person that, when you have that person who believes in you and wants to give you a shot, and they give you a shot, not once, but like over and over again. And he really has done that for me. And from the get-go of wanting to, me to do videos for his show. And then also later on down the line, I was going to do a Housewives podcast. And I just, I wanted to run it by him. And just because he's the one who kind of gave me the opportunity to put my stuff out there. And so I just was like, hey, I want to do this Housewives podcast. I just wanted to make sure it was cool with you. I don't even know why I would even ask. I guess it just I just wanted his blessing, I guess. You know what I mean? To put more stuff out there.
Insight. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And then he wrote back and said like, yeah, but don't you want to do it on Radio Andy? And I was like, what's Radio Andy? And I had no idea at that time that he was going to be launching his own network channel on Sirius XM. So it was he was like, oh, this is so serendipitous because I don't have my full lineup yet of people. And you could do the Housewives stuff because I'm not going to have anyone else doing Housewives stuff. And that can be your thing. So yeah, he gave me that amazing opportunity almost 6 years ago. And it was like 1 day a week. Beth, you've been on the show. And at that point, it was like 1 day a week.
Wow.
And
it was so fun.
It was so fun. You've been on it several times, actually. And I think and then maybe you came back maybe when it was like 2 days a week. But now it's Monday through Friday. And it's a daily thing. And it's amazing. It's become my job. And I still do videos for Watch What Happens Live. And so he just has been... he's been my daddy in a way to give me these amazing opportunities. So he's been an ally.
I need to see it in writing on the bottom, Daddy Andy.
Daddy Andy.
That's so great.
That's funny.
Congratulations, Andy Cohen. Yay! You're the most award. Yay. All right, last thing before we go, who's got stuff they want to tell everybody about on how to see you? Amy, start off, tell us about how they can listen to you and see you and whatever.
My show is on Sirius XM, Radio Andy, channel 102, and it's daily. It's 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, and I talk all things Bravo and beyond. I go into other reality shows too, but mostly the main Bravo shows from Real Housewives to Below Deck to whatever. And check out my Instagram page. I'm always posting videos and stuff there. Meet Amy Phillips.
I'm glad I did meet Amy Phillips.
I really need to work on that name. I'm just too lazy.
I love it.
I'm too lazy to change it at this point. I don't have the energy.
Everyone has it.
Yeah.
Marla, anything to plug? Anything you want to share?
Yeah, I do political comedy for Girls Night In, which I think will be celebrating a year. Like these ladies, as soon as the pandemic hit, were like, fuck it, we're taking this online. And it's just such a wonderful, the audience kills, the audience in itself is just so fun. So I think I'm going to be back on April 13th. It was hard to do it through the election season, not going to lie.
I bet.
But, to make jokes about all that. But I'll be back on April 12th or 13th, whichever one is a Tuesday.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Anyway, and it's all over Instagram, Girls Night In. Twitter is how you can find them. So, and then hopefully in Chicago back on stage once we're, it's not dangerous. So
right. Awesome. How about you, Beth? Anything you want to plug?
Well, you could just, since I'm so young and hip, you can follow me on TikTok.
You're 28.
I'm a 28-year-old. Yes. But it's just at Garbage Mom on TikTok if you want to see it's all about parenting, comedy, and commentary, and on Instagram too. It's the Garbage Mom on Instagram. So funny. Yeah, please do follow me.
I love Garbage Mom. You're the best. So funny.
I mean, from the start, you had me at the image of you with the breast bump and the bottle of wine. Like that was it. I'm like, I'm yours.
Yeah.
So
that's really smart because it hadn't had a chance to metabolize yet.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly. Well, I mean, she shares all the things that we all have experienced and feel, but are afraid to say. So I told her, or I don't know if I told you, but I wanted to share so many things about having colon surgery, but I don't have your balls. So and it's not quite as charming as a breast pump. So
listen, people need to hear it. There are people out there that have had surgery like that, and they need to hear it. I mean, honestly, that's just think of the people that need it.
It's true, and it's really a good way to finish up the show talking about colon. I think each one of you is just amazing, and I'm so thrilled that you joined us this month. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for
having
us.
This was so fun.
Oh, such a blast. I have no idea who'll be here next month because I've been laid up. So we'll have lots of wonderful surprise guests in a month. So for Hey Girl, thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks to Jess, and have a great rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye, girl.